And the ancestors are looking out for us. God Hayes is exposing them, man.
Okay, you see that chair right there? See how big it is?
Yeah.
Now look at the Pope chair under it. Scroll down, look at the Pope chair under
Never have it been made so clear.
Young TV. Young.
We running the game right now.
Young TV.
Time to take over.
Young
We the hottest in the game. Hit that like, hit that subscribe button. If you just not tuned in.
TV.
Share, like on your Instagram, Facebook.
Young TV.
If you tuned in, we broadcasting live from 2030, baby.
Young TV. Young
Taking over the game, baby. Oh yeah.
Young TV.
Hit that like.
Young TV.
Get them likes up in the air, you heard me?
Young TV.
Ride by. Hotel Islam.
Young TV.
Assalamu alaikum. Flown lekker.
Young TV.
Hit that like.
Hey Rod, I'm glad you came back on. We got a lot of action this week, man. A school shooting in Colorado, the alleged assassination of the dude Charlie Kirk. That's his name. Well, you know, and then people saying it's AI. I saw a video where his ring switched fingers. So I was like, man, what's that? You know, there's some lot of weird stuff going on. Some guy holding up like he's standing, you know. We looking for everything since Bill Cooper told us the driver shot Kennedy, right? So we looking for anything now. You know what I'm saying? We ain't just they ain't finna pull that fast on us and tell us a guy shot her from the tower no more. We looking for everything. So it's people that's posted so many videos of just cracking that particular event down to where we started to think it was staged in a way, man. We don't know. Kirk, his name Kirk, right?
Yeah.
Charlie Kirk.
So you remember, it's always murder by numbers.
Right.
All right. So it's one day before 9/11.
Right.
Right. It's one day after the 999 portal gate.
Right.
Which is 9/10. Mathematically, 9 plus 10 is what?
19.
Islamically, what does that mean?
Oh yeah, that's deep.
Islamically, it means sacred seal, right?
Yeah.
The sacred seal of the number 19. Remember, Baba wrote a book about it.
Hey, yeah, that goes along. Now go ahead. I don't want to cut you out. You made me think about something else that I put out. I just put something out about the 19 thing. Well, like a while back. With Doc on that talking.
Okay. In Kemet, 19 is alpha meets omega. 9 is the highest number. Right? You start counting from 9 backwards. You don't count 1 to 9. You count 9 to 1.
Go ahead.
And then 0 is omega, means the end. The end all, the bees all. The omega symbol is the cipher, the circle. The circle is also produced when you add 1 plus 9, you get 10. An illusion. 10 is an illusion because all it is the reset 1. Okay. 1 plus 0 equals what? 1.
Right.
So the end comes on the 1. James Brown. Dropping
Hey,
on the two.
and speaking of that, they taking James Brown statue down from outside of the arena. And this, you heard about that? I'll think of the name of the arena in a minute. Somebody drop it in the chat. They taking James Brown statue from in front of the in front of this arena that was dedicated to him. I want to say it's in Georgia.
You know he was a chief, right?
Yeah, James Brown. Yeah. You can look at him and tell.
Little Richard was the chief that opened the door for him. His name was Chief Screaming Hawk.
The James Brown Arena.
Yeah. So this is all James Brown ties back to the Cleveland Browns. Remember, I told you the Brown clan is one of the largest clans across the land. If you grab a phone book and you go to the last name Brown, it's going to take up pages, where every other one take up sections of a page. Right. It's a couple other names like Johnson take up pages. Right. Johnson means John's son. Right. My mama last name, her maiden name was Johns off her fatherland, but her mother last name was Quinn, as in Percy Quinn Park, Magnolia, Mississippi. Percy Quinn from Percy Quinn Park was an Irish senator. He was my grandmother's paternal uncle. His brother raped my great grandmama when she was about 12 years old, and then she had my grandmama. Right. Everybody knew who baby it was, but she was ostracized for having a light bright for a baby when she was darker than me and you. Right. So anyway, going back to the numbers, right? So you got Charlie, which takes us to Charlie Ward. He's the leaker. And then you got Kirk, which takes us to the Enterprise, which is Captain Kirk. Right? Now, when you understand you between two dynamics, don't believe nothing, but read the numbers. The numbers going to tell you more than the image that your eyes see on the TV screen, or even if you're there in person. Right? So the strange thing about Captain Kirk from the Enterprise is his birthday is March the 22nd, 2,200 and something. Let me look it up.
Wow. Hey, y'all hit that like, hit that subscribe button. We about to get ready to go in. Check that thumbnail out. There's some high power alchemy we got going on there. We also got clips that we're gonna roll because Roy bought receipts to show you what's going on. We got more receipts, y'all. So this is about to get lit. We just warming up, giving people time to get on. Tell them we live right now, y'all. We lit with Chief Pontiac at the North Gate, man. When we knock, you better bump straight. What you got, Rob?
I'm about to tell you Captain Kirk's birthday in Star Trek movies. And you remember all this stuff becomes relevant.
Charlie and Kirk.
Okay, yeah. It's 3/22/2233. That's his birthday. Let that sink in. 3/22, 2233. That's all masonically coded.
Cold Skull and Bones is the first part, I think, right? 322. That's one of their numbers.
And then the 2233, 22 means raised or rising. Okay, 33 means master. 222 means raised. Right? So we going through this, we don't see the similarities and the connections. If I was going to do a deep dive on it, I would have looked up what episode of Star Trek did Captain Kirk get a neck injury. And that would have took me to the number of the episode, that would have took me to a little description of what the show was about, and maybe even gave me an option to watch it. Now, while that's going on, remember, Charlie Ward been leaking information as retired military the whole time. This is where you get the captain for Kirk. Military ranking system. A captain is not a general, but he's still a ranked officer in the military, right? So the military code ties to, did you see the video of the dudes flipping the military sniper symbols behind Charlie?
Yeah, he did something like this, and then the dude shot right when he did that. Then they got him on camera running out the top part.
Then they got another dude standing off to the side at the same time. It looked like he's shooting something at the guy.
Yeah.
Now we don't know. I don't know. I didn't really look enough into it to know how accurate what I'm looking at is what I'm seeing. But I do know central casting is in full effect. The deep state has also activated the school shooters. Remember the school shooter video we went over?
Yep. Nigerian candidate. Yep.
Right. Now, you got to remember, he was at a university.
Yep. Colorado.
Now, when you talk in Colorado, Raven Rock is where CENTCOM is, Central Command. Right? So now something is coming in hot. It's telling you that the ship about to land. Even if he got shot or if he didn't get shot, the code being the same. But the ship not going to land in Colorado. It's going to land in Montana. Right? So they're telling you that it's en route. Now, at the same time that's going on, remember, he's good friends with Candace Owens. Candace Owens was recently given the death threat by Israelis that call her anti-Semite. Right? Now, if they can't get to you, they always do what next? The next closest thing to you, right? Right? Yeah. So they know that they're not allowed to touch her because of the blood right. But they can touch him because he got a different blood type.
And I say it was in, hey, shout out Maurice, man. Correction, it's in Utah, not Colorado. I'm thinking about the school shooting that took place in Colorado. Shout out Maurice.
It's connected. It's still connected because he's still at a university.
Yeah.
You still got the school shooting, which is the Manchurian Candidate, which is the MK Ultra. And the MK Ultra tells you that it's the Mockingbird media, that's the CIA is telling you who behind it. And the CIA ran by Mossad.
Right.
The crazy part is the CIA created the Mossad along with MI6 and KGB.
Right.
They created the Mossad. Now the Mossad run all of them. Make it make sense to Elder.
Right, because they were the Knights of Templar. They the Knights of Templar. They worldwide. The Mossad, the CIA, all of them the Knights of Templar. I'm telling you that makes sense right there. Huh?
Yeah. So when you go back and watch the old movies, right? All of the spies got to get a paper every time they go. Where's the newspaper? They always going to the paper stand. Go back to Mel Gibson played in Conspiracy Theory. All his information was codes that was in the newspaper. You gotta remember, Mockingbird media is when CIA infiltrated the media for purposes of propaganda in order to steer narratives in mainstream media.
And Hollywood.
Yeah, that's all part of the Mockingbird. That's what Operation Mockingbird was taking over Hollywood.
Yep.
Hollywood now is responsible for putting out the news.
Right.
Now, if you take a picture of some of them people on the movies that's getting shot, that look more real than the real shootings.
Right.
Right? So now you got people that slows down video, frame by frame review it, anomaly searching, because they know that they don't know what's wrong, but they know something not right.
Right.
And so they start snooping. Right?
Right.
And who is Snoopy?
Yeah, right.
That's Charlie Brown's dog.
Go ahead.
Right? Who is Charlie Brown? The Brown clan. Charlie Ward. What is a ward? That's the person that's in your care if you their security. See the circles that is running?
Right.
Because it's everything flips off something else. So you got namesake, then you got numerology. When I seen Charlie Kirk get shot, first thing I did was Captain Kirk, Star Trek Enterprise. What's his birthday? And went to the internet and found it. I was like, holy shit, this is murder by numbers again.
Look, it's funny that you say that because one of the shout out the brother Randy Christie, because he sent me a picture of Trump doing a Masonic the Lions grip with this dude Charlie Kirk. They was doing the Lion. I got a picture of them. I should have loaded it up, but I got a picture of them doing the Masonic handshake. So I'm like, yeah, now you say about the 322, the 33, it's all connected. Because look, you know what Dr. Ben said? He said they stole 11 tablets out of ancient Kemet. And we know we can debate what ancient Kemet is, we know now, right? But 22, and he said they stole 22 tablets. They stole 11 tablets to create the York rites, 22 tablets to create the Scottish rites. And it's funny that you bring up the 22, the 33, and then the 322 is all like it's all Masonic skull and bones connections with this whole setup.
Every secret society is connected. Every secret society, the good ones and the bad ones.
Go ahead.
The only reason you got bad ones because you had bad people that got inducted into the good ones at one point and decided they was going to take over and use it for clandestine conquest. Okay, now remember, we approaching the fall equinox.
Go ahead.
Not equinox. It's not called equinox. Yes, it is. It's the equinox because the summer solstice, winter solstice, spring equinox, fall equinox. Right? That's a quarter roll.
Go ahead.
Because you got 4 seasons.
Go ahead.
So an equinox is a quarter and the solstice is a half, depending on where you count from originally. Right? So we coming up on the fall equinox. Today, 9/11, right? Quiet, but it's still tracing things that's happened yesterday.
Right.
Right. So at the same time that Charles Kirk gets shot, Israel is simultaneously bombing multiple countries at the same time.
Right.
How do you minimize the news coverage in America to the people if you want to bomb 7 countries and bring America into it? You got to dumb down the people. So you got to give them a red herring, give them something else to talk about. We so busy talking about Charles Kirk, we ain't talking about the massive bombings of multiple countries. Remember, Israel stayed for last.
Right.
Right. And Trump posturing like he with them, but he done already told y'all Israel can't be trusted. He don't trust them. He said it out his mouth. He said, Natty Boy can't be trusted. Because when they told him don't bomb Iran, he went and turned around and pushed the button and bombed Iran. Right? So the next thing is to destabilize the Persian government, which we call Iran. That's Persia. Right? Destabilize Persia or change the regime to a favorable regime. Take Enlil children out of control and put Inky kids in there, basically.
Pretty much.
Right, because you got to change another guard. Now, while that's going on, they got to steer the narrative in the minds of the American people. We already watching them going through Illinois with massive amounts of military vehicles. But the people keep thinking that they coming for them. They coming to secure the major cities because of the changing of the guard.
Right.
I feel for the children to think that they switches is more powerful than that shit that the U.S. military got. They finna fuck around and find out.
Hey, we got them videos if you want to roll one of the clips and get in on it.
Whenever you ready, Elder.
All right, we'll roll that first one then, then to do the commentary. Let's get it cracking, y'all. Hit that like, y'all. We got it going on, y'all.
We got him. We finally got him. We caught the IRS red-handed. For years, they've been telling you, the American people, to pay up or else, waving around those so-called official transcripts and certificates as if they were gospel. Well, guess what? They're frauds, fabricated, phantom tax returns the IRS claims that you filed but can't produce because they never existed. Here's the crime. An IRS agent falsified the records. A supervisor covered it up. The DOJ marched into court and used those fake records against Americans, and then admitted under oath they have no signed returns to back it up. That's not sloppy paperwork. That's RICO fraud, a criminal enterprise operating under color of law. And it doesn't stop there. Judges looked the other way, clerks issued phantom orders, and the whole rotten system circled the wagons to protect itself. Multi-layered fraud, IRS, DOJ, and the judicial system. This is enough to prove the IRS is not a tax collector. It's a criminal cartel preying on its own people, and when an agency survives only by fabricated evidence, it's not just corrupt, it's illegitimate. It's time to shut down this rogue agency once and for all. We're not going to reform it. We're not going to slap it on the wrist. We're going to abolish it. We've got the evidence, we've got the admissions, and now the American people have the truth. The IRS has been running a RICO fraud, and the whole house of cards is coming down. Chew on this, America.
Well, yeah, that's crazy right there. We've been know that it's another lady, that lady that Nubian lady that came out and exposed them a while back. We ain't heard from her since. She said that she worked there for years and found out that they was running fraud.
Right. But now this had to be part of disclosure. People didn't believe that they wasn't supposed to pay taxes unless they volunteered because of the threat of force that came with what they call it tax fraud. All taxes are fraud by the nature of what they do. Remember, the Declaration of Independence clearly say no taxation without representation. If we go by the representation, the only people that's supposed to be paying taxes are the ones who came from Europe during the 17, 18, 1900s. But we ain't never been represented as the organic original people in relation to their tax codes. We don't got no dog in that fight. So every one of us that they've been taxing, it's been a constructed fraud. That's why she bring up the RICO. RICO require you to meet the elements of conspiracy, and then you also have to meet the definition of racketeering. So it's not easy to prove a RICO case. There's too many points of verification. Most lawyers don't take it point for point. It's 5 elements alone to conspiracy, right? So if it's 5 elements to conspiracy, how many of them? And then conspiracy is the first thing that got to be proven in order to prove racketeering, right? So in racketeering is when you organize extortion rings, pay to play deals and stuff like that, right? So you got to prove the conspiracy first. Then you got to tie the conspiracy to an illegal activity of an ongoing criminal enterprise in order to make a RICO stand on his feet. That's why Puffy didn't get his RICO. They didn't convict him of RICO. They convicted him of lesser charges. They say if you throw enough shit at the wall, something gonna stick. That's the prosecutor's mentality. If you watch the original Law and Order, they was always scheming on what laws been passed that they can use to add on to the charges to make sure this person don't get away. They were showing us the whole time in theater.
I love that show, Rod. I love that show.
Go all the way back to Perry Mason.
Yeah.
Perry Mason give you more actual law than you could possibly imagine. You know, back then, people used to take what they got off Perry Mason and research cases.
That's fine. I'm gonna go check that out. I watch Force 48. Like I like logs like Force 48, all the first 48s, and then like Law and Order. That's my favorite. Like that's my favorite type of shows. Like Cowboy.
Because you get that CSI, yeah. Las Vegas, all that.
Yeah, I watch all of them.
They show you the inner workings of investigations.
Right.
Now, if somebody watched that all the time, like they used to have women, they used to read sleuth novels, Hardy Boys and Nancy Drew type stuff, right?
Right.
And then from that, their brain become calibrated to unlock investigations.
Right.
So you had women back in the day that they used to call in and look at the paperwork to see what they was missing. They was just sleuth readers. They were just so good at it that they would call in with tips so much that they would end up being hired as an advisor to the police, and they would come in using their women's intuition tied in with their understanding of investigations from sleuth novels.
Yeah, it's a show like that took place in California that they had to cancel it.
Yeah, they got one out now. I forgot what the name of it is, but I think it come on like Tubi or something. But the lady, she not a police officer, but they keep having her solving all their cases.
Yeah.
Same thing. It's the same thing.
Yeah, so this is my question about the IRS. We know that they're the Inquisition Revenue Services collected for the popes of Rome and the crown, right? So now they make us volunteer. Like when we go get a job, right? They say, oh, you got to sign these forms in order to get the job so we can start paying you. So it's like you automatically got to agree to their contracts of, you know, because they said they started paying tax after when they had the war. What is World War I? They started
World War II.
World War II, right?
But remember, because
go ahead.
World War I was right around the time of the establishment of the Federal Reserve and the Internal Revenue Act.
Okay.
But taxing during war is called a war tax.
Yeah, war tax.
You got to be at war in order to institute a war tax. This is what they did in the American Revolution. They used war bonds sold to the people, stock in the government, in order to be able to finance a military, right? So once they do that, okay, now they got some money to use to fight. Now remember, you can't go to war and make money. They're not compatible.
Right.
But if you watch America, find a 20-year stretch where America didn't have some type of military operation active and hot.
Right.
Because if you haven't been in a war in 20 years, that kills your war tax claim. So every 10, 15 years, America's in somebody's business.
Dang.
Keep the war tax going. But the income tax didn't really hit us hard until after 1933. contemporary with the rise of World War II, when they took us off the gold standard and put us on the fiat. Right.
6102.
Then they came with House Bill, I think it was 191.
192, House Resolution 192, 6107, executive order by Franklin D. Roosevelt.
Right, which said everybody must turn in their gold.
Yeah.
Right. And then they the Senate bill, I think it was Senate Bill 191, declared America bankrupt. That's when they declared the people hostile, and we was at war with the people.
Yeah, enemies of the state. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. We went over that in prior classes. For anybody that want to go back, we discussed that the American government corporation had waged war against the people. But what we don't know and we don't always connect is when they say the people, every original tribal name translates into modern English as the folks or the people.
Mm-hmm.
It's either kinfolk or the people. And this is how your gangs in Chicago end up being divided along folks and people.
Makes sense.
Tribal.
Makes sense.
Tribal.
All right, we got to roll that next one, Rod. This going to be a good one right here.
We begin with a truth bomb that exposes the very foundation of our political reality. The Republican and Democrat parties were never about you. They were never about freedom. They were constructed systems, mental cages designed to divide, distract, and control. President Trump once said, "Under a true constitutional government, political parties don't exist. The Constitution is the only agenda." That statement wasn't just theory. It was a declaration of war on the entire political establishment. The illusion of left versus right is breaking. What we're witnessing now is not a transfer of power between parties. It's a transfer of power back to the people. The stage is being set, and we are now deep into the final act of this global chess match. As of July 11th, 2025, the Earth Alliance has initiated full-scale operations against the final bastions of deep state control: financial systems, biowarfare labs, and political corruption centers. This isn't a drill. This is the endgame. Behind the scenes, the United States continues to operate under a classified military framework known as Continuity of Government, or COG. Quietly activated during Trump's first term, COG suspends civilian jurisdiction during wartime to protect national continuity. That means military law now overrides the Supreme Court. The civilian branches still appear to operate, but the true chain of command runs through the military, led by Trump as Commander-in-Chief of the Global Military Alliance. Now here's the kicker. In 2008, the cabal's fiat empire hit a wall. Global bankruptcy. The dollar was no longer fit for trade. That's when BRICS stepped in. Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, forming a plan for a global currency reset. A return to gold and asset-backed money. A reset of 209 nations. And who helped guide that mission? President Donald J. Trump, elected in 2016 not just to lead America, but to unite Earth's patriots against a global system of control. Fast forward to today, July 11th, 2025. The Earth Alliance is dismantling deep state infrastructure in real time. On this day, President Trump officially purged the State Department. Career globalists, long embedded in U.S. foreign policy, are being removed. Some face indictment. Others face military containment. This isn't just cleaning house. This is a strategic takedown of a foreign-controlled shadow regime. The Global Engagement Center, once paraded as a think tank, has been exposed as a NATO-run PSYOP machine, used to push propaganda, justify impeachments, and crush dissent. According to declassified Ratcliffe documents, this operation was greenlit by Obama himself, executed by names we all know: Susan Rice, John Podesta, and others. And it gets darker. Over the 4th of July weekend, Texas was struck by what appears to be an engineered weather assault. Sources suggest a HARP-style atmospheric strike, akin to operations behind Katrina, the California fires, and the Dutch farm sabotage. This wasn't just weather, it was a test. On July 10th, authorities confirmed that over 833,000 square miles were under manufactured storm threat, and yet the mainstream called it marginal. Are you awake yet? Doesn't stop there. Red Cross and FEMA officials are under quiet investigation for alleged misconduct during these crisis events. Reports suggest land grabs, looting, and even the unlawful detainment of children under the guise of rescue. We pray it isn't true, but we must follow the evidence wherever it leads. Even more shocking, on July 6th, General Michael Flynn issued a direct call to President Trump. Arrest the traitors or lose the Republic forever. A line has been drawn. This is no longer about politics. This is war. And while that war rages on land, another battlefield has opened in the skies. July 11, 2025, FAA, NASA, and NOAA all confirmed what many have suspected for years. Weather manipulation is no longer a conspiracy. It's policy. The government has officially admitted to spraying chemicals, altering the atmosphere, and shifting weather patterns. This wasn't for health. It wasn't for agriculture. It was for control. And speaking of biocontrol, USAID documents released on July 10th show funding for over 11,000 viruses, many of which were funneled straight to Wuhan. That's not public health. That's a pipeline of weaponized pathogens, paid for by the taxpayer and hidden in plain sight. And then there's the long-standing mystery of 9/11. FBI Director Kash Patel's recent investigation uncovered that then CIA Director John Brennan issued visa passports to the hijackers. The implications? Earth-shattering. Patriots, this is where we are. The storm is not coming, it's here. The military is in control. The deep-rooted corruption is finally being exposed. And yes, tribunals are already underway in classified locations. You won't see it on mainstream news. But soon, you won't be able to ignore it. We're not spectators. We're the generation that ends the cycle. That rewrites the story. The Great Awakening isn't just spiritual. It's military, economic, and global. Stay in the fight. Stay informed. And never forget, you are the storm.
So pretty much everything you've been saying is just rolling out.
And so you see, you mentioned that the kind of government since Trump.
So the arrest.
You cut out, Elder. You was glitching for a minute.
Okay, I'm back. I'm good now.
Yeah.
I'm glitching now.
No, you good now. You good now.
Hey, so we're all like we leading up to the point where what if these guys got the heck out of town? Like they can't. Like, is there no place they can hide? You know, these Obamas and these Clintons. You know, when Jeffrey Epstein's got a $70 million apartment that they got on the market now up in New York. And in this apartment, they found two photos. One of the photos is of Bill Clinton in Monica Lewinsky's dress in her heels, the one that he got the stain on. They got a picture of him in that dress. And then he got another picture with George W. Bush flying a paper plane into the Twin Towers. George W. Bush Jr.
I don't think that was Monica Lewinsky's dress because she had a dark dress and that one is like baby blue that Bill Clinton got on. But
it's like a dark blue.
Yeah, but it's like royal blue, the color that Clinton wearing. But the whole thing about him in the dress sitting in that chair goes more to his sexual appetite.
Yeah, right. Feel you. Go ahead.
You know, the paintings are parodies. You know, so they say Hillary wear the pants in the house. So you go, who they gonna put the dress on?
Right.
Right. Now, in that last clip, you notice they mentioned the continuity of government.
Go ahead.
And they said that the continuity of government was activated under Trump, under the first administration, right?
Uh-huh.
Now, remember, Trump, the only president in the history of the country that came out with the top generals of all branches of the military. In his speech, he said, "We not here to transfer power from one political faction to another, but to return the power from Washington, D.C. back to we, the people."
Go ahead.
We, the people, is a tribal slogan that the chiefs would use when meeting each other to know we was on the same team, and that's how they exploited it.
Uh-huh.
So when they translated it in English, it come out as we the people, but we was saying it in the tribal tongue.
Go ahead.
So now they use it in their English writings to manipulate our subconscious. We remember we the people.
Right.
It's like saying we the tribes, we the clans, we the families, we the ones.
Yep.
Right? Now, at the same time, this continuity of government taking place, they allowing the deep state to make moves because they already in check.
Right.
But every move that they move, they get tighter and tighter locked in to their position to the point where they won't be able to make another move.
Right.
Right. So the deep state don't have no more moves, but the king got one more move. Right. So when we finally rescue the king, it requires the efforts of the queen. So when you're looking at the continuity of government process, they have a means of communicating. This is what I be reading. It's called spy language. It's coded spy language. But as a native wind talker, we understand code so well that we can read nature when the wind blow, when the feathers ruffle, when the leaves rustle, when the birds flying, when the birds chirping, when the dogs barking. All that stuff means something to a code talker, a tribal code talker.
Right.
But it don't mean something to everybody. Right now, we had to create a codex to translate what is it saying, and then we use that codex to mirror what the government is doing, and then the wind talker can read from nature everything they doing because of the butterfly effect.
Mm-hmm.
The butterfly effect triggers a Mandela effect.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So when I've been telling everybody we under continuity of government, I have heard nobody else telling the people that we was going through a continuity of government transfer of power and where to find the documentation to be able to follow the pattern. Right? I haven't heard nobody else say it. Nobody even talks about continuity of government but Rod Hayes, because he half crazy. Rod the madman. Come on the internet with his hair all on his head, looking all disheveled. But he's telling the people everything they need to know, but it might not be everything they understand why he's saying it. Right? So we deliver the message to the people. In order for it to get out, we try to break the algorithm.
Mm-hmm.
The algorithm determines the flow of the collective conscious, and what they search for, it tells the system how deeply they entrenched in the illusion versus how deeply they seeing through it. And the goal is to wake us all up, all of the ones that's supposed to be awake.
Right.
And they know by the number that's supposed to be awake in the algorithm flow, how many of the awakened ones has been activated. Because what comes next on the algorithm determines who wakes up next. Because they're going to come with a specific insight that's tailored to who they are as a person. And they've got to know themselves well enough to know that if I feel this way about it, it got to mean this is the only one thing it could mean.
Right.
And then they able to tell people, this is how you find it, and this is how you get your receipts. And with the aid of the internet, you can access receipts at a faster pace. I'm gonna give you an example. Maybe it's just wrong.
Hey, Raw, it's funny that you bring up the internet and all that because they keeping this on the wraps, but Africa just cut, I think it's America off today, or it's coming up here. And they got they setting up their own search engine and internet in Africa now.
Actually, it's Africa. It's most of the BRICS nations.
Okay, all right, go ahead.
We talked about this in the last one receipt drop we did. They took 1 point something billion people in Africa and Asia has been dropped from the Google algorithm.
Yeah.
Now remember, the BRICS nations is covering in that territory.
That's right.
And that's the arising of the new systems, the gold-backed systems. Now they damning the dollar back home. You get to see it by the sudden disruption of the algorithms of Google by 1 point something billion people dropping off.
That's almost like that's a lot of percentage compared to 7 billion people on the planet, like 8 billion people.
Yeah, so if it's 8 billion people and a billion, that's 8% of the world's population.
2 billion people.
10% of the world's population.
No, that's more than 10%.
Everybody in the world not using the internet. That's what's crazy. So
like,
you look at it again, you say out of the 8 point, well, the number been fluctuating. So out of the 8 billion people, how many of them have internet access?
Then,
that's going to drastically reduce the number to a little over about 3 billion people in the world.
Right.
Now, when you take 1 billion people off that, right, that's a major blow.
Yeah.
That's a third of the people gone now.
Yeah.
Right. Mathematically, if it was an even 3 billion, you took an even 1 billion off, that's 33.33%.
Yeah.
Look at the numbers, murder by numbers. So we looking at all of this stuff is shifting. Now remember, we still got 3-Eye Atlas coming in, right? Which now they got another set that's coming with 3 ships. They got Harvard scientists telling us that these is alien crafts.
Yeah.
Right. Now they also having a skirmish with Venezuela. Right. For bombing a boat that they said was carrying drugs.
Ain't Harvard what Skull and Bones it?
Who?
Is it Harvard? You know, I'm thinking about Yale. Is it Yale? That's what it is. Skull and Bones.
Yeah. So Venezuela takes us back to wrestling. I got a post on my Instagram page about a couple months ago about the rise of the Queen of the South. So you got Stephanie McClure in wrestling following the championship run of Rhea Ripley from Australia. Right? The symbol that you see on the post that I put up is a smiley face with a point in Australia and a point in Brazil is actually an airplane path. Then you got Venezuela caught up in this, and Stephanie McClure from Venezuela or Argentina, which is right next to Venezuela, and this is the rise of the Queen of the South. But there can't be a rise without the attention of the people in order to collapse the wave into the particle, to pay attention to the geography so that they can draw energy to the area to move us forward. So they use the cover of war. And you got to remember, Sun Tzu say all war, not some war. All war is based on deception, which is the ability to give you an illusion, but it's all to draw your attention to a location. Right. A geographical mark. The last one we did, we had a lot of people asking me about Australia. When you put that Australian video up, it clarified a lot of that for the ones that's watching, right? To know that this is really the tribes of the earth reclaiming earth back from the tribes that ain't from the earth.
Right.
That's why God didn't have nowhere for them to be on earth, because they didn't belong on earth.
Right.
Right. So we got the report about a week and a half ago that they only got little hot pockets of them left here and there because they didn't got rid of the majority of them as off-world. We talking about the Enlil family that was concealed in caverns under the earth.
Right.
Right. Some of them wasn't involved in the stuff that was going on the earth, but the ones that was, they got a special place on earth to be dealt with by Earthborn.
Yeah, that's right.
Right. But they little minions, right? They lesser affiliates that was benefiting from their reign about to feel the wrath at the end, right? Because they're going to save some scraps for the dogs to eat. This is for my dogs. This is for my dog. Roll the corn out.
Roll that next one. We got him. This is a good one right here.
Patriots, we begin today with a monumental shift, one that historians may someday call the final chapter in the global war against the deep state. The storm is no longer coming. The storm is here. Over 1,000 federal patriots have just aligned with global military forces under a single unified mission: to dismantle the final stronghold of the global cabal, a Vatican-funded, Epstein-connected network that reaches into the highest levels of power. This is not a drill. Vatican assets have been seized. The gold is gone. The control system is collapsing. Let's break it all down. On Saturday, April 26th, a global trigger was pulled. The long-awaited global currency reset has been activated. 207 nations have now agreed to Nasara-Gassara principles. That means no more income tax. The IRS is gone. The gold standard is back. The U.S. Treasury has been restored and removed from central bank control. The dominoes fell quickly. Over 650 military flights were reported, many heading to and from Vatican airspace and Water Island, 2 locations rumored to house vast amounts of hidden gold and evidence of decades-long crimes. On the same day, the Pope vanished from public view. Speculation is rampant, but one thing is clear: the Vatican's grip on global finance is over. Trump said it best: "He who holds the gold makes the rules." By Sunday, April 27th, President Trump officially declared the return of the constitutional republic. That's right. Our nation is no longer operating under the corporate structure established in 1871. We've returned to original constitutional law, which means smaller government, restored sovereignty, and true freedom for the people. Then came May 1st, the day the fake news died. Mainstream media outlets across the world went dark as the quantum financial system activated a secure media grid. What's replacing them? Unfiltered truth. EBS broadcasts, documentary drops, and whistleblower confessions are now being routed through a military-grade quantum network. The old internet? It's being replaced by one free of surveillance, manipulation, and backdoor control. But it gets bigger. On May 2nd, the long-rumored medbed rollout officially began. Over 6,000 suppressed technologies, from free energy to anti-gravity propulsion to quantum healing devices, are being deployed under military protection. These advancements were hidden from humanity for decades by corporate and deep state interests. Now they belong to we the people. The numbers are staggering. $73 billion in gold and black money has been removed from Vatican vaults. The dark system of control, built on debt, blackmail, and spiritual oppression, is disintegrating. As part of the takedown, Kabbalion citizenship has been revoked worldwide. They're not just being arrested, they're being cut off from the system entirely. No return, no deals, no escape. New elections are coming. Governments around the world are being downsized by as much as 90%. Bureaucracy is being replaced with sovereignty, and the people are finally reclaiming their power. So what's next? Military operations are expanding across over 100 nations. Special Forces units, Navy SEALs, Delta Force, British SAS are conducting synchronized raids to detain high-level cabal operatives. Many of these missions are being carried out under the cover of darkness. Over 700,000 sealed indictments have now been activated. Arrests are underway globally. Private jets are grounded. Passports are revoked. Safe havens? Eliminated. This is the final takedown. The emergency broadcast system will soon be triggered. When it does, it won't just interrupt programming. It will replace it with truth. Expect documentary footage, tribunal testimonies, and raw disclosures of what the elites have done. Human trafficking, ritual abuse, blackmail, and corruption at the highest levels. These aren't just allegations. The evidence is in hand, and when it drops, the world will never be the same. Meanwhile, in the shadows, quantum financial system nodes are now fully operational. The new internet is being secured. Digital banking backdoors have been closed. Offshore cabal accounts are being seized. The new system is designed to be credit-based, debt-free, and decentralized. Imagine waking up to find your mortgage erased, your student loans gone, your credit card debt canceled. That future is not a fantasy. It's here. And it's not just America. From Europe to Asia, Africa to the Middle East, patriots are rising. Military checkpoints are in place, ready to enforce the EBS protocols. Quantum energy relays are sinking. And suppressed health technologies, long hidden by the pharmaceutical industrial complex, are being prepared for public release. But with all this progress comes danger. Insider warnings suggest a bioweapon false flag may be attempted on July 4th. Dr. David Martin has issued an alert about a planned attack aimed at mass casualty. The timing? It would coincide with Independence Day celebrations, and with the full emergence of the new republic. If true, this would represent one final desperate move by the remnants of the deep state. Stay home, stay alert, and prepare for anything. Let's not forget, the Vatican archives were opened last week after 5 centuries. What they contained will shake the foundations of organized religion and historical narratives. What's been hidden for 500 years will now come to light. The lies end here. In the final days of June and early July, massive updates have poured in. The U.S. Senate passed Trump's landmark One Big Beautiful Bill. USAID was officially shut down. Over 300 charged in the largest healthcare fraud case in U.S. history. $14.6 billion stolen. The expansion of Guantanamo Bay with 175 new tribunal halls. Operation Alligator Alcatraz initiated. A new holding facility for globalist detainees, 8 ARP facilities and secret military bases exposed by Edward Snowden. And if you still doubt we're living through history, a Democrat official in Arizona just received 10 years in prison for embezzling nearly $40 million from taxpayers. She bought ranches, real estate, and luxury cars. But in the end, she was caught, just like the rest of them will be. This is the Great Awakening. The world is being freed. The old system is dying. And you are not alone. Stay strong, patriots. Watch the water. Follow the gold. And above all, trust the plan.
Hey, Rod, I got a serious question right here. Now, let's talk about prophecies for a second. It ties into what he was just saying. Now, if you go with the Bible says that the prophet, it goes into Deuteronomy, but they say, "Oh, this prophet from God." If we can get into that. But when I went to go look up I looked up in the NBA to see is any player that never missed a shot, and it was no player that never missed a shot, and there was only one player that had 1% accuracy, and his name was Ahmed. Right, and I thought about Muhammad. Right, he only shot one shot his whole career, and he hit that one shot. He was 100%. It was only one guy. Then I looked up how many people in the NBA, the National Baseball League that never struck out. Everybody struck out. It was nobody ever went to the league that never got struck out. So, and no quarterback in the NFL is 100% accurate. So, I guess this brings to my next point. And not to add to that, Babe Ruth, the same year, I think it was 1921, where he had the most home runs in that year. 1923, I think it was. He also had the most strikeouts in that same year. You know what I'm saying? But this is my question: are all prophecies 100% accurate? Are they subject to change? Or is there some stipulate? Because I don't know nobody that's 100% accurate in life. You gonna people make go ahead.
Okay, when you're talking about prophecies, first of all, who given this prophecy? These not prophecies. The reason why they look so accurate is because they're not prophecies. They are plans, schematics, blueprints with markers to let you know what part of the conquest has been successfully completed. When you following the prophecies, you following the plans of the one who wrote the plan. But it's never the person they told you it was. Like they give Albert Pike the credit for Morals and Dogma. Albert Pike probably 9 out of 10 didn't even write that himself.
he wasn't that intelligent. He was satanic, but he like studying his work. Yeah, so it had to be a group or they put that together, a whole group. I think the Scottish Rites,
They don't
Freemasons put it
necessarily
together.
be a group, but I can tell you this. The reason why I say that is because the way you control information. Remember, everybody didn't know how to read. Less than 1% of the population of any society at any given time was able to read until modern times. Who was responsible for recording the deeds of the king? Do you remember?
It would be the scribes, right? His scribes?
The scribes.
Right.
And at one point, only scribes knew how to read and write. And the king, of course, he had to learn how to be a scribe in order to be a king or ruler. Right? Okay, now, if the only people was writing was the scribes, what about the peasants in the field? They weren't writing nothing?
Go ahead.
They was telling the stories around the campfires at night. And the stories carried on and became the oral tradition. So you got both sides of the story. The ones who wrote and the ones who told the story on what we call the hot gossip line. Right? And so we got the griot tales, and then you have your written story. The written story is the plan of those who's doing the writing or instructing somebody to write. That's their instruction. Now we got to figure out how to code it, right? We code it under the pretense of prophecy. But you notice the word prophet exists within the word prophecy.
Right.
Right. But not only does the word prophet exist, the word prophet exists. So now it's tied to the banking system because the prophet got to generate profits.
Go ahead.
In order for him to maintain his 501c3 status.
Skull and bones. Oh, man.
Now, look, 501c3. 5 mean change, omega to alpha. C is 3, and 3 is 3, which is 33. The master. It's all coded. It's in our face, behind our back.
Man.
You just don't know their language. It's all CIA, KGB, Mossad, all of the secret spy networks have access to it. That's why they pick up a newspaper. They don't see the same thing you see.
Right? They see the codes.
They pick up the paper that says man landed on the moon. You know what they see? It's an invasion about to take place in a rocky terrain in the Far East.
Yeah.
Right? We looking at the moon in an invasion. They looking on Earth in a whole nother direction. They still telling the story. They put it in your face because it ain't up to them to tell you what it means. It's up to you to figure it out. And if you don't teach yourself how to think, you'll never figure it out. And the ones that think they know how to think, but think the ones actually doing the thinking is insane, is the worst of them all because they are delusional. And they telling the whole rest of the people that the ones that's doing the thinking don't know what they talking about and that they delusional, which is misdirection. The world is a stage. We are just actors.
Right.
If you don't see the misdirection, then you're going to be trapped in the illusion. David Copperfield didn't make the airplane disappear. He just made you think it disappeared. If he can make you think it disappeared, he don't have to make it disappear.
Yeah.
Because now you accepted that it disappeared, meaning that the illusion was successful because you didn't believe he could trick you and you got tricked.
Interesting.
That's how street cards work. Street card money. The shuffle game the 3 shells in the ball. Oh, that's sleight of hand. That's all illusion. And some people always fall for the illusion. Yeah, trickery in the first degree. The 120 degrees of trick knowledge that Jacob gave them. Remember, they rule by trick knowledge.
Yeah.
Which is the knowledge of trickery and how to deceive.
All right.
They tell you that the devil is a deceiver. What is his greatest deception? He had to make you think that he the God you worshiping, and all the time you worshiping him.
Go ahead.
This is the greatest deception ever played on man. To make man think that man is less than what man truly is. Therefore, you can never reach your potential because you don't know your potential is as high as it is, so you limit how high you jump. Like fleas in a jar. Second generation won't jump. When you take the jar off, they won't jump higher than the lid.
Right. That's right.
And you keep lowering,
like puppies.
And you keep lowering the lid, they jump lower and lower.
Boy,
until you can actually crawl without a lid over. That's teaching you to endure suffering. Because oppression is atmospheric. You can only be depressed to the degree in which you are strong enough to take the oppression. The strongest people been oppressed the longest because they can take it the most. And that allowed the people that's in the appearance of power go through a catharsis where they can burn off all of their negativity by abusing the ones that they think is the weak ones. And all the time, they ain't weak. They the strongest ones. That's why they at the bottom, because they got to hold up the system.
Right.
Right. But they only got to hold it up until they get tired of holding it up. And whenever they get tired of holding it up collectively, then they just all stand up and flip the table.
Right.
Right. But most of them don't know that all of the rest of them is ready to flip the table. So somebody got to tell everybody. So maybe one of the corners, one of the legs, a 7 or something, gonna start flipping around the bottom of the board to tell y'all all you gotta do is stand up. Talking to the wind, Ezekiel's army.
Bro, this might be a little off. Before I roll this next clip, a question. Yo, can you hear me, Rod? What the heck? Oh yeah, so that's my question, man. Before we go to roll that, yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you.
Before we finish with the conclusion to that. So
go ahead.
All prophecies is true to the degree in which the person responsible for executing a part of the plan executes. And if somebody is missing from the equation, then the prophecy, like for instance, Charles Russell predicted the end of the world like 5 times. We still here. Now, he probably would have been right if he wouldn't have told nobody, they wouldn't have adjusted for it. But when he told people, they adjusted for it, which prevented it from happening.
You're here. Hey, so maybe he was supposed to kill him.
Yeah, so the prophecy is only as accurate as the person carry out their portion of the plan that leads up to the fulfillment of that prophecy. If any one person don't carry their load, it don't be accurate. But most of the time they carry their load. So the prophecy appears to be pretty accurate. And then history repeats itself. So once you see where the gap at, you know where to plug the hole. Pick the weakness in the game, you sew it up.
Hey, now this is my next question. And this might be a little thought, but I think it ties into right now. Now, I saw this concert where the rapper NBA Youngboy, man, he had to have at least 70 or 100,000 young guys in there. Like everybody had ski masks on their head. and they might have got in there with the blick. Look like they all had blicks in the car if they ain't have them on them. And then while he was rapping, they all like they was gonna leave there to go smoke somebody. Now with the power that he got, then they got him hit off in Utah with a black hand got one of they got the compounds it that they call themselves the Mormons. That's their cover name, right? But what power could he if he was to change or what type of control do he got, man? Like to have that many people in there jumping around like that with ski masks on, ready to go. Like he really dangerous for our, like if he was to turn on them and say, you know what, we're gonna go, the people that so-called enslaved our people, we know that's a bunch of crap now. But he was to turn his energy and say, you know what, they watching him like a hawk, man, because he got too many control over too many young crazy dudes, man. What you think about that, bro? Before we click on this next clip,
all it is a tribal faction that's following their leader.
Okay.
Right? The leader don't want to go the conscious route because of Tupac. They don't want to end up like Tupac. So they'll spit that crazy stuff that the industry want them to spit to allow them to get the spotlight on them. But when you talk to them, you'll find out that most of them ain't crazy as they be acting.
That's right.
But sometimes you got to play the fool to catch a sucker. Right? So when you seem dumber than your mark don't feel threatened enough to have to remove you. If he was to turn around right now and start doing the same thing Tupac was doing, or KRS was doing in the 80s, right? He wouldn't last a good 6 months before he ended up like Charlie Kirk.
Some people say they
because they told him. If you have an industry contract, they tell you that if you don't follow this contract, there's consequences.
That's right.
And the consequences may directly affect you, which means you might die, or somebody close to you, and the world gonna think you sacrificed them.
Yeah.
It didn't sacrifice them. As in the case of Kanye, he ain't sacrificed his mama like people think. They killed his mama because he was the value they was trying to exploit. And then when he tried to go and do his Kanye thing, you know how Kanye is. We all know how he is. We've been watching it. You can't go do your Kanye thing. You under this contract.
Right.
Right? I don't care about your contract. I'm finna do my Kanye thing. Right? And as soon as he decided that he was going to disregard that contract,
boom.
Bye-bye Donda. So he becomes so disgruntled, they try to shut him up with pills, mental health crises publicized to the public, handlers, right?
Right.
Gave him the appearance with the public persona of a rich nigga.
Right.
Right. So he got it all, but he ain't free.
Right.
And what he turned around and told us not too long ago, I don't want none of it if I can't be free.
Go ahead.
I'd rather be free than have all the money. That's what he said after he lost that was it Balenciaga deal? There was who that was making stuff? Was it Balenciaga?
He made a tweet where he said he lost he was talking about a tweet that he got off of, I can't remember what company that was. It was a multi-billion-dollar deal. He lost it from making a tweet.
That was for the shoes.
Okay.
That's for the shoes, the Yeezys. I think I forgot who Yeezys are going through. I think Reebok. But anyway, he lost those deals because he'd rather be free than be paid to shut the F up while his people was struggling.
Right.
The problem is we don't know how to read crazy horse energy. Because if we knew how to read crazy horse energy, we would know exactly where Kanye coming from and what he's trying to tell us. We supposed to learn it off Old Dirty Bastard. He was to teach us the crazy horse energy, how to read it. Right? It's a couple more of them, but it was the lead crazy horse. Crazy horse is a frequency and it's a cover. It's a protection, a spiritual protection from the tribes. Sitting Bull is a title, right? And it literally refers to the bull who sits on his post. He's sitting down on his post. He figured he a bull, he can't be moved.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So all of these titles comes with encoded energies that the tribes can use. If we learn how to read Crazy Horse, it's like ODB say, shame on her for trying to run game on her. And he said, wait a minute. Let me tell y'all what I'm talking about so y'all will know what it means. Then he went sober as a preacher to describe it. Yeah. And then he went back to shame on her, right? Crazy Horse.
Yeah.
You got to know when to see. Young Pharaoh went through the Crazy Horse energy phase where he used the Crazy Horse energy to break from under the pressure of being put under the spotlight. We sat here and watched him and we all called him crazy except for me. I laughed. He ain't crazy. You know exactly what he's doing. Right? Because the Crazy Horse energy is used to get information past the enemy in the enemy face. Right? So the example, one day he was telling the story and they were saying he was crazy during this time. And when he telling the story, he looked back to his baby mama and say, am I lying? And she be like, nope, that happened. That's Crazy Horse bouncing it off a sane individual that was present. That's verifying that he ain't as crazy as we think he is. Mm-hmm. Because the story that he's telling actually happened, but he's telling it in an animated way that makes him sounds unhinged. But the girl verified the whole story sitting right next to him. Crazy Horse energy. Once you know how to read it, you know how to read it.
We're gonna roll that next one, Rod.
In today's report, we bring you the latest developments in what many are calling the final phase of the sting. The global stage is no longer theory, it's operation. And President Donald J. Trump is at the helm of it all, commanding one of the most complex and widespread military operations in modern history. Let's break it down. According to trusted sources and insiders like John Solomon, the American public, particularly those calling for accountability, should prepare for major developments within the next 10 days. The Department of Justice and FBI are reportedly neck-deep in high-level investigations that date all the way back to 2016. This is the storm we were promised. On July 11th, Task Force Phoenix, operating from the secure Cheyenne Mountain facility, now quietly referred to as Trump's Vault, officially activated the final phase of the global sting operation. The mission: dismantle the deep state power structure, seize stolen wealth, and pave the way for worldwide implementation of GESARA. Over 3,200 arrests have already been confirmed this week alone. The takedown spans corporate, governmental, and underground criminal entities. Among those apprehended: BlackRock executives, leaders at Pfizer, IMF officials, Vatican operatives, British agents, and child trafficking facilitators linked to intelligence networks. Simultaneously, major financial vaults across the globe are being secured. We're talking gold, diamonds, blackmail files, and sensitive digital archives, not for private coffers, but for the benefit of humanity. Through the Quantum Financial System, or QFS, Over $300 trillion in recovered gold is reportedly being rerouted for global redistribution. And then there's Switzerland. The Bank for International Settlements in Basel and Zurich's elite finance sector have reportedly fallen to joint U.S. and allied forces. These weren't just banks. They were hubs of hidden wealth, underground rituals, and data centers meant to enslave the world digitally. Sources claim even Nazi gold and disturbing evidence of ritual abuse were uncovered in underground chambers. Meanwhile, eyes turn south, to Antarctica. Yes, Antarctica. Once thought to be a peaceful scientific outpost, it's now under military siege. Satellites and intel suggest hidden deep-state bunkers in Queen Maud Land contain ancient suppressed technologies, remnants of post-World War II scientific programs, and alleged genetic labs tied to hybrid experiments. The U.S. Space Force, in coordination with global allies, is leading the final purge of this hidden fortress. And let's not forget the media blackout. Executives from CNN, BBC, Fox, and Reuters have reportedly gone dark. Why? Military teams have seized massive data troves containing ritual abuse footage, pandemic strategy calls, and classified documents tied to global depopulation agendas. These are now under Trump's control, awaiting public disclosure through the emergency broadcast system. This is not just about arrests. This is about a reboot of humanity. Under Gesara, debt forgiveness and the end of tax slavery will roll out. The QFS will usher in sound sovereign money. Med beds and other suppressed healing technologies will be released. And truths long buried, from secret space programs to underground civilizations, will finally be revealed. President Trump said, "We caught them all." That wasn't a metaphor. It was a declaration of victory. And the trap? It's digital. Through Starlink, every escape, transaction, and movement is being tracked in real time. For those who thought their bunkers were safe havens, they've become cages. The islands? Staging grounds for extraction. The game is over. Now let's turn to recent developments on U.S. soil. 13 July. A disturbing event in Van Nuys, California, where U.S. Border Patrol agents were targeted in a deep state-backed sabotage operation. Homemade spike traps were used in a coordinated attack, raising serious questions about elite complicity in ongoing domestic threats. 13 July. John Solomon confirms that major charges are coming in a long-running conspiracy case reaching back to 2016. The exposure of these events will rock the political world. 13 July. President Trump issued a statement addressing speculation around AG Pam Bondi, FBI Director Kash Patel, Deputy Director Dan Bongino, and the Jeffrey Epstein case. Sources hint at bombshell connections between Operation Warp Speed and billions stolen from Pentagon accounts. 13 July. Trial International breaks a global scandal wide open, citing widespread crimes against humanity tied to international actors. Another domino falls. 12 July. Documents link Epstein files with a $20 trillion theft and pandemic-era corruption. The vaccine narrative may soon face a full reckoning, and perhaps most chilling of all, an ongoing investigation points to a global trafficking network rooted in the Vatican and extending as far as the Three Gorges Dam in China. All connected through dumbies or deep underground military bases, including a 1,500-mile tunnel stretching from the Vatican to Jerusalem. Tom Homan, former ICE director, recently confirmed that over 10,000 missing children have already been found, with an estimated 300,000 still unaccounted for. The exploitation of child labor in foreign-run operations inside the U.S. is no longer just a theory. It's a humanitarian crisis. We are witnessing history unfold. This is not just a political operation. This is spiritual warfare. Good versus evil. Light versus darkness. The reset is no longer coming. It has begun.
Hey, Rod, now to confirm some of that stuff, because they was on the news the early morning I was watching when Virginia and Donald Trump was on there. I think it was the Virginia governor. They made a lot of arrests on child trafficking rings. They didn't bust so many, even in my state, but in Virginia, they just recently bust like it was in the thousands of children that were being trafficked just in Virginia.
And a lot of that is not reaching public exposure nationally. It's local exposure to a lot of those cases. And you had like 7 different sting operations in Florida alone that netted at least 100 and some perpetrators and untold amount of children, right? Then you had one in Texas.
Yeah.
There's a couple most states, California, they had a big trafficking ring bust out there too. I think it was one in Arizona as well. But see, I told y'all, they got us under the misdirection that there's animosity between the Russians and the Americans. It's not. Right? It's just that now the earth is split into the emerging regime, which is what you've seen going on in China. When you've seen those heads of state over there with the President Xi of China, right? And then at the same time, Trump was meeting with the European powers in DC, right? That's the old world and the new world, both showing you, because it was like 2 or 3 days after the Chinese military parade that had these world leaders over there, that the internet shift happened. Everybody just switched over to the new system.
Yeah.
Like over 1 billion people. Right. So what they telling you, everything they're just telling you everything that I've been saying over the last 5 years that people called me crazy for. And they make these videos that update you, and everything that I was saying is in them videos.
Yeah.
Right. But sometimes they don't believe it when it comes from somebody that look like us, because the people behind the scenes look like us and they always lying to us.
Yeah.
We don't know who to trust. So you got to come up with an independent third party. Now they're using AI because AI can download the information from multiple sources faster than a regular person.
Yeah.
Right. And then they can tell the story. It's all coming out because the youth is learning to control how AI respond to their questions in order to get the truth out. And once they learned how to do that, it's over with, because it's telling them everything that crazy Rod Hayes and Young Elder been saying.
Hey, Rod, Lady C said, go ahead. She was done.
Yeah, so we've been saying this 4-5 years, and now AI is telling people stuff that we said that we was called crazy for.
That's right. That's right. Lady C say, what can she find these videos? Where did you get the videos, the clips from, Rod?
There's a YouTube. These came off of a Facebook page, and somebody shared them with me.
Somebody said, so DC is closed, and they're closing all the stores down here in Georgia. I know DC being that already closed down.
Yeah, most of the state buildings ain't been functional since 2018 or 2019. Yeah. They all been closed down. They starting to dismantle the Federal Reserve building.
Yeah,
I got that report. I got that report a couple days ago. You know, so we watching it, but a lot of people ain't understanding. In the video before that, it mentioned the tunnels under the Vatican and the 650 planes that was flying from the Vatican. And then they mentioned that it was another site. The other site was the intelligence site. The gold was at the Vatican. And they had more gold in Switzerland. And you see how he went into the Swiss bank over in Basel, then to another part of Switzerland, Zurich. Right. That's where the central banks was funneling their money and storing it up. That's why they said they found storages of wealth, of stolen wealth. They stole it from us. Right. Nobody's supposed to be poor.
It's like you say, like now that you see that Africa cut all of the vampires off from stealing from their country, they building up their country, look like it like to the future now. They got the internet started. it's pretty much like as they got left to themselves, they growing like they ain't nothing. But I think once we get to left to ourselves, it'll be the same over here. We'll rebuild and build it up to the future, you know, over here.
The good thing about over here is majority of the people over here, no matter what they look like, they want to see prosperity over here. They came here to experience prosperity.
Right.
So if they see us building our cities up like Dubai, everybody gonna want to help.
Right.
Right. And this is gonna tear down a lot of the divide and conquer barriers that they gave us. Skin color, political affiliation, who your favorite rapper. Ain't none of that stuff gonna matter because we're gonna be too busy building for the future and understanding the need to build a promising future for the children.
Right.
Right. So it's just gonna be a whole different environment.
Some people they also said in that video that certain countries that they can escape to, that these guys that's gonna be a part of the mass arrest, that these countries are denying, saying, "No, we don't want your money. You can't come over here and hide." So what they gonna run and hide to if the countries that you can go to get you know, immunity or whatever, they ain't gonna have nowhere to hide these guys.
It was a song back in the 60s that said, "Nowhere to run to, baby. Nowhere to hide." Ain't nowhere they can go because you got to remember the whole earth is under satellite surveillance.
Go ahead.
If you leave, if you got your cell phone with you, you got a tracker. Right? So you can't take your cell phone, can't take your laptop because you got a tracker. You can't drive your car because you got a tracker. And we don't be knowing this stuff. They be doing and using it all the time in criminal investigations, but they don't want you to know that they use it.
Right, especially FBI.
Yep.
High-ranking agents. All right, we'll roll that next one.
And now we got jealous girlfriends that put air tags in our bags and in our pockets. And the government follow us through the air tag that she put on us, and she don't even know she working for them. Agent effect.
Wow. It's crazy, man. All right, the next couple ones are short ones.
4 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
He implemented QFS. The IRS, he keeps announcing different phases of the termination of the IRS. The IRS does not legally exist. The 16th Amendment was never ratified by Congress. I have a letter from the commissioner of the IRS written in 1985 that says that if people come to you and want all their taxes back, you have to give it to them because we've been operating illegally because of an Indiana court case that occurred in March of 1985. So when we look at that, what Trump is doing, he's trying to ease the information. You can't tell people everything you're going to do all at once. You have to ease them into it. And the reason is because change takes a long time. You know, we have probably 30% of the people that somewhat understand what's going on, 10% who have a real good idea, and then you got 70% that have no idea. All they know is they like Trump, but they don't understand why. And so when we look at the Federal Reserve, he's already eliminated the Federal Reserve, but he hasn't told us that. My understanding is that in 2019 or 2020, he actually turned it over to the Treasury Department. And it's been under the Treasury Department since then. If you notice on your dollar bills, there's.
Okay, yeah, so I heard that too. I heard that the Federal Reserve chairman, he resigned, and they pretty much taking it down.
Fired.
Yeah, they fired
First
him
time,
pretty much. Yeah,
first time in history. But
yeah.
this go back to what I told y'all a long time ago. The Federal Reserve was actually shut down in 2017 with a cease and desist order from printing U.S. currency.
Mm-hmm.
Now they were supposed to roll out the new currency. I think that's the next video. The new currency was stalled by Congress. So they had to use the BRICS nations to damn the dollar back to the United States, because they're going to have to either reduce the inflation rate because the currency is diminishing, or they're going to hyperinflate, right? Because the currency is losing value. So it got two ways they can play it. Start relieving the pressure off the dollar by backing back prices, or over saturate the value of the dollar by artificial means, which creates an increase in prices, right? So the deep state, the ones who was in control that's fighting on their way out, they're not going to stop fighting until they gone. So you're going to see activated sleeper cells and all that until they're done, right? And they got to find a Jason Bourne sleeper, because the Jason Bourne sleeper is the only one that can peacefully wake up the rest of the sleepers so they don't follow the protocol. And the government got a good idea of where that agent is, or they might even have them in custody. But the purpose is to activate to awaken the sleeper cells without them being activated to commit atrocious acts. Right. So they've been running tribunals in Gitmo. And remember, they just opened up Alligator Alcatraz in Florida. Those are for international criminals. Remember, the Russian sub came into the Cuban Bay. They was dropping prisoners off. Remember when we were talking about that about 2 years ago?
Yeah.
And they was dropping prisoners off, and everybody thought it was going to be some kind of hostilities between America and Russia, but they working together. Right? They was working together to catch the whole deep state operation. Because Russia tired of being smeared over here and used as the boogeyman to manipulate the people. So they were willing to work with Donald Trump and the military to change their image in the eyes of America. But first, they can't change it too fast. The whole operation got to be ran first, where they work together in order to save Earth from an imminent threat from other places.
Right.
That goes all the way back to Ronald Reagan's Union speech on Operation Star Wars.
Right.
Right. Well, the only thing that's going to bring us together is the threat from somebody from outer space. That'll stop us. We put our petty differences aside at a moment's notice from an inside threat. Right. So it's not new. None of it's new. But again, it's not a prophecy, it's a plan. Right? The Bush told you their plans was to 1,000 points of light. That's 1,000 points they was using to contain the Earth. So then that tell us that we have to find 1,000 points of chaos to operate from in order to disrupt the 1,000 points of light. But we ain't supposed to use chaos. They don't want us to use chaos. They want us to think it's the most vile and wicked thing that we can use is the chaos. But we need the chaos because everything came out of the chaos, the dark matter, the Shakti. Right? So they use those patterns cyclic over and over again. And that's because they don't know how to come up with nothing new on their own. So they keep doing the same thing they already know.
Mm.
Roll the coin, Elder.
I got you. It's a short. Last one, couple ones is real short. This one right here is
whatever you want to call these individuals. We are at check on the chessboard. They know it. The walls are closing in. They have no real moves left other than chaos and destruction and death and riots and all this sort of a thing. But that's their last attempt as we, in my opinion, take the final hill here in these battles. And look, law and order, you exactly nailed it. And Derek Johnson's done some great work on connecting the dots on all the PEADS, P-E-A-D-S, all the executive orders, the updates to the Law of War Manual, and then connecting it on daily events. We are at war. We've been at war. Trump told us that.
Hey, yeah, he pretty much just said, yeah, he just confirmed it too. Just confirmed that, hey, they're going to try to do chaos as they go out. It's the walls are closing in on them. Another confirmation.
That's what they commonly call that a false flag, but it's not a false event. It's just that the narrative wrapped around it is control the collective consciousness that make it a false flag.
Right.
They will let 1,000 people die for their agenda to be pushed forward. Right?
Like
you seen that in 9/11.
Yep. Let's roll this next one.
They use science to make you believe you're African. Here's the problem. This is haplogroup AR0, the oldest known human Y-DNA lineage. Mainstream scientists say it's African. But the first modern sample? Found in South Carolina in a so-called African-American family with deep roots in the Americas. Then there's Ramses III, Pharaoh of Egypt. DNA tests revealed he carried haplogroup E1B1A, the same haplogroup found in so-called Black Americans today. But here's the twist. If the out of Africa story was true, you'd expect the oldest samples to be in Africa. Yet we find ancient markers here in the Americas that predate the supposed migration timelines. Migration maps don't line up. Carbon dating doesn't line up. The African origin narrative keeps shifting to fit the theory, not the evidence. DNA was supposed to be the smoking gun, but they used it to frame us. By controlling the narrative, they turned indigenous Americans into descendants of Africans on paper, while the science in their own labs tells a different story. This isn't just bad history. This is genetic misdirection. Hit that plus button so you can follow the case, because the next exhibit will turn their migration story upside down.
But you got a couple tapes going out on it, on the genetic bottle. Yeah, we got a couple of joints on that.
Remember we talked about that. We did a whole show on why we don't believe the out of Africa theory.
Yeah.
And remember I was telling you we show artifacts that was older than anything they found in Africa to date.
Yeah.
Over here. Right? And we found bloodlines and DNA stock from over here that's older than Africa.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so they keep trying to tie us back to Africa, but our roots keep digging deeper and deeper into the Americas.
Right.
You know, remember, as a matter of fact, you had called me and you was like, "And you got to explain this, and this is what it is."
Yeah, and like some way we put it together because we was thinking that, hey, somebody had to ride that camel back over there 6 billion years ago. That's a long time ago, though. 6 billion years, based on what the dates they giving us. They talking about 50,000 years over in Africa. These people have been around over here 60 billion years, riding camels.
Yeah.
So like something ain't right. Why would they? Well, like I got my own perspectives on why, but what would be the perspective on making us think that, hey, we wasn't over here, we was in? I got my perspective. We probably already said this 10,000 times, but what's the purpose of switching us around?
If you don't know you from the land, you got no claim to the land.
Go ahead.
If they can disassociate you from the land, somebody else can come in and say, since they don't want it, you can give it to me.
Right.
Right. It's about the blood and the right. We got the blood and the right, which make us the righteous. Right. So in the whole, we gotta remember, we went over the father of history in European was a Greek. The father of history in the European narrative. And he's the point by which the story is being told, and he got his information from Kemet. Right? I think it was Aristotle, Socrates, one of them. One of them Greek philosophers is classified as the father of history. So the Eurocentric history is predicated upon the Afrocentric origin of Eurocentric history. When they started that narrative, they hadn't discovered over here yet. So and from they tracing their knowledge base back, they trace it back to Africa. Therefore, everything had to come out of Africa. That's called deductive rationalization. But that's because the X or the unknown variable is the Americas at the time that the out of Africa philosophy is being developed by Greek philosophy. So there's no way they don't have no answer for the Americas because they don't trace their history or their knowledge source outside of Kemet. Right? When they all graduated from the universities on the island of Crete, they sent them to Kemet for priest training. So when they tracing it back, that's Northeast Africa. So if that's Northeast Africa, then you got the Gaza Strip leads around the Mediterranean going into Turkey all the way up into Europe. Once you get there, you follow a migration pattern. When they burned the library down in Alexandria, they went underground tunnels to Gaza. Then they went underground tunnels into Europe in order to drop all of the manuscripts off in the Vatican, which becomes the Vatican Library. All that's been seized.
Look, man, I'm gonna do this tape. I got this tape coming out that I'm gonna do live. Where I got all these clips of the maps being switched around, where it show a lot of the names of lands they saying that's over Middle East or other places that them land masses is over here before 1902.
Yeah, a guy sent me a clip. Brother was going over an old map from like the 1300s, like the 1500s.
Yeah.
And it had, in South America, it had Africa.
Yeah, I saw a map with that on it too. I saw a map.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, I got a clip.
Yeah. So when you think that before the continent they call Africa, they was Africa because there was Ethiopia on that map. So that was Ethiopia, and Africa was in modern day Brazil.
I also saw a map. Go ahead. I also saw a little map, the same thing. Go ahead.
Yeah, the region in modern day Brazil. So then, where did the African slaves really come from? See, Africa wasn't in Africa to the 1800s. So if slavery was in the 1500s and they bringing people from Africa, and the only place Africa on the map that predate the continent being called Africa, and it got Africa in Brazil, where is they bringing us from? One part of our land to the other part of our land.
I got a map from 1902 that shows Africa being what Tennessee and but Memphis and all that's it. Like Memphis leading up to Cairo, it got Africa on the map right there in America, in a map from 1902. Yeah, well, Cairo, Illinois, and Memphis. Yeah, I got a map that says 1902 Africa right there.
So the people that make maps are what's called cartographers.
Uh-huh.
and they used to share maps with each other. And this is how sailors and navigators knew where they was going.
Mm-hmm.
Cartographer was critical to the understanding of the terrain.
Okay. Let me run that next one then. We getting close to that time.
Roll the coin.
Got some good ones.
Patriots, we are now inside the storm. What began as quiet preparations behind the scenes has erupted into full-scale activation. As of early July 2025, we are witnessing the dismantling of the old financial order and the rise of a new sovereign economic structure. The U.S. corporation born in 1871 has been dissolved. The people are reclaiming their republic, and the quantum financial system is no longer theoretical. It is real, and it's online. The 3rd of July, final preparations locked in. On July 3rd, a critical signal confirmation was achieved, the final synchronization of the emergency broadcast system. That means we are go for global transmission. Meanwhile, North America saw mass activation of gold certificates, a sign that real asset-backed finance is finally taking the driver's seat. The 4th of July, Independence Day like no other. July 4th, 2025 marked the 250th anniversary of American independence. And this year, it meant more than fireworks and parades. President Trump hosted a celebration that wasn't just symbolic. It signified the return to our constitutional roots. The corrupt financial system controlled by central banks and foreign interests has officially entered its terminal phase. The NISRA and GSRA reforms were publicly activated along with suppressed healing technologies. The message was clear. We declare independence from the Federal Reserve Bank, the people's money, backed by gold and run by military-grade encryption under the QFS, is now in motion. The 5th of July to the 14th of July, countdown to transformation. Starting July 5th, the world entered a window of transformation. During these 10 days, systems are shifting from fiat to asset-backed currency, from fraud to transparency. The Hawaii National Bank, for instance, is going offline temporarily from July 10th to the 13th to install the QFS infrastructure. On July 14th, that bank and many others will operate under the new financial system. Operation Chrysalis, a new Treasury backbone. On July 15th at 3:33 UTC, Operation Chrysalis goes live. Treasury nodes will flip from mirrored control to primary authority, meaning old banking rails become read-only. If payment processes don't sync within 11 milliseconds, they'll be frozen pending manual audit. The corruption has no place to hide. Media frequencies and countdown to blackout. July 16th brings a subtle but powerful shift. The global broadcast grid completes a lattice swap, changing the carrier frequency from 60 hertz to 432 hertz. You won't see it on your screen, but it's happening. That frequency bump confirms that the EBS beacon is locked in. From that moment, the final countdown toward the media blackout begins. Sealed indictments and quantum justice. On July 17th, the continuity of government plan enters the final phase. Tier 1 nodes, including military tribunals, secure courts, and whitelisted financial accounts, receive the sealed indictment packages. These files are quantum sealed and unhackable. Once the last data block is delivered, the arrests begin. The 18th of July 19, liquidity, energy, and medbed access. July 18th will see Tier 2 nations begin to draw liquidity in 12-hour phases. Energy and food prices may fluctuate as the old fiat is flushed from the system. Watch the tickers, but more importantly, watch the energy markets. That's where the shift hits first. On July 19th, civilian access to medbed hubs begins in 24 launch zones. War veterans, children, and the terminally ill will be prioritized. The medbed rollout is no longer rumor, it's mission ready. The 20th of July, healing and expansion begins. By July 20th, Access to these healing technologies will expand to include more Tier 1 verified citizens, military personnel, children, and those with chronic conditions. This is not just a medical breakthrough, it's the beginning of restoration on a global scale. Redemption Centers, bonds, and Tier 4B. Back on July 3rd, Redemption Center leaders met to confirm scheduling for Tier 4B. Multiple sources said we are on standby with appointments for historic bond redemptions already happening. Tier 4B notifications could come anytime between now and July 9th. Bruce and Wolverine both confirmed that large sovereign bond packages, including the Super Pacelli, are paying out. The Iraqi dinar has once again revalued, with the new rate visible on Forex back screens. The final word, the people's system is online. Make no mistake, what we are witnessing is the demolition of the Federal Reserve, the rollout of rainbow treasury notes, and the activation of a sovereign financial system built by patriots for patriots. The world is shifting, and those prepared will thrive. The global currency reset is no longer coming, it is here.
Say,
Yeah,
Rod,
so
so
that's talking again about.
Go ahead.
Yeah, that one was talking about the financial things that actually took place back in July. Some of that stuff we reported on when it happened.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, there's a phase of the banking process that still got to be flipped, but they doing they got to do the rollout of the causation first, which would be the corruption that they pull out as arrest announced to the public. Who was arrested for what?
Right.
Once you get that out, then you can, a lot of bankers is involved in that. So when they expose the bankers, they'll say this is why we switching the currency, because the bankers have been counterfeiting and inflating the dollar artificially. Because if you print money and you're not the United States Treasury, it's called counterfeit.
Right.
The law. So the Federal Reserve was printing currency as if they were the Treasury, right? Because they was executing the lien by the Crown of England and the Vatican upon the American people for the Civil War. So they would start printing the money in order to pay back the debt on the 3-time bankrupt United States at the time. And it since went bankrupt like 3 other times. Every time you see where they said that there's no money, we can't make the budget, and then they had to shut the government down, that's a whole bankruptcy conclusion.
Right.
Right. So we watched all this stuff happen, and we still don't know what we was looking at while we was watching it. Because they keep distracting us with chaotic events. They release the information about the other event. It's all it is a sleight of hand.
Right.
Right. Don't take your eye off the ball. Boom, where'd the ball go? Right. So they using trickery, but they still giving disclosure at the same time. Like they didn't already announce. It's just a matter of time before they tell us that the Obamas is in custody. Hillary and they all have been dealt with since 2018, 2019. But they got to tell it to us though. So now since they didn't use all this central casting nonsense, now they have to do the theatrical grand finale, the closing scene. It's the setup for the comeback on the other end of the movie.
Right. Right, to end them.
But the sequel is a prequel. How did we get here?
Right.
Crazy.
Roll that next one.
They have totally taken apart brick by brick, block by block, the Federal Reserve building. They were taking the roof off last week.
If America goes, then so goes the world. That works the opposite way too. If I'm speaking in a negative way, yes, but we're speaking in a positive way. So we know their plans. You have been given their plans. 45 steps that they use to basically take down America.
Well, a lot of people are detained right now.
Okay.
So they're already off the streets. They're already out of their homes. They're already detained.
with the Democrats going to New York and Chicago, there's going to be like 14. I think there's going to be upwards of 17 cities that are probably going to get trashed.
They're changing the terminology from illegal immigrants to undocumented immigrants. It's all illegal. If you're undocumented and you're illegal, you're not an immigrant.
I don't think the Democrats as a party exist going forward. All the corruption, all the evil that they've done over the last several decades is going to get exposed, and no one's going to want to vote for them anymore.
Get out of the party conversation. It's not Republicans. It's not Democrats. They're all together. It's a uniparty. If they keep you in this two-party conversation of who's right and who's wrong, we'll never get ourselves out of this.
I agree. Have any allegiance in any of those parties, only to an individual that proves himself by merit, you know. So, of course, President Trump has done that many times over.
He had his paralegal, Lisa, go and research all the judges, including the J6 judges in D.C. None of them took their oaths, and none of them chose within the 10 days to cure their oaths. So on April 18, he filed a district court case. He's now in the circuit court on that case. All these judges aren't taking their oaths either. But that's in this new book, because point 13 is avoid all loyalty oaths, which is why we don't have state constitutions. And it started at the Treasury. And they went in, they had to convert everything back to the Republic. And they went into every single federal building on June 14th. Troops did. What he did was obliterate DC on June 14th. So he brought them in. He brought Marines, DC. He brought Army, DC. He brought them all in together and had those troops do what? Take an oath to what? To our republic. Remember when there was a trip by our friend over to Antarctica, and then all of a sudden the next week, there was this big announcement that $980 trillion were removed from their clandestine banks. Well, clandestine banks wouldn't be in any of our nations. The clandestine banks were in their community under Antarctica, where they were building up to be when they eliminate us, and then they wait until the air clears to come back above. An evil man will burn his own nation to the ground to rule over the ashes. And that's exactly what all these guys are doing. And people are going to be shocked how many of these nations that we've been funding were involved in the 2020 election to end America. He starts the KKK, runs it for Grand Master for 12 years until he dies. He started all of this. Okay, that's all Albert Pike. And as wonderful Americans, they got us to capitulate World War II and end it because we didn't want nuclear. The Bush family were never Bush. Right. And 41 was never adopted. And they're a German family, tight with Hitler, tight with Mengele. They're all in the same photo that is included in a couple of my books. I mean, that FBI chapter, I think, is the biggest chapter in the whole book. Look at what we've learned in these years versus the rest of our entire life.
More and more of us are talking that. I think people are starting to get it.
Yep. We got like two more, and like a short ones. That'll be it. But yeah, she dropping it right there, bro.
Yeah, so that's why. Remember, I was telling everybody that they can bring in the other branches of the military under control of the National Guard. You know, so she was just going over all of the stuff that we had been going over the last year and a half. Right, and they telling the same story, just condensed. Put another face on it, maybe they'll believe it.
Yeah, so all them judges wasn't they hadn't sworn to the Constitution. They weren't Article 3 judges. So all of them will commit fraud. All them judges commit fraud.
Yeah. Now you gotta remember bar members. The bar member. Part of the bar member oath is that you will take no other legal oath that supersedes your membership to the bar.
Right.
Loyalty to the king that trace back to the first charter where they told them to use the law to take everything from us.
Yeah.
And that's why it's those court bearer bonds that they use to put the lien on you is so valuable. And that's why they always want you in court. Right? You give me a fine, but you got to wait 60 days to get sentenced so you can pay the fine. then you forget to show up in court because it's just a $200 fine. And then they put a warrant out for you, so you got to bind out all over again. Now they done kept that bond and opened a new bond.
Yeah.
Right? So it's all playing the game. You know, and they're playing the odds, playing the numbers.
Right.
Right? For every 10 people that you tell them what the fine is, but they got to wait 60 days to get sentenced, for every 10 of them, 4 of them going to forget.
Uh-huh.
It's not important. You already settled out what it's going to be.
Right.
But then when they get the warrant, it's a rude awakening. Now you got to start all over, pay it all over again.
Right.
Because the bond you put up before been seized.
That's ransom.
Yeah, trickery in the first degree. Roll the coin, Elder.
Well, when enough coincidences pile up, we may have to adjust our... Who built the moon? Every ancient culture on Earth has stories about the moon. But it's interesting that the further back you go, the fewer stories there are. And if you go back far enough, there are stories that talk about a sky before the moon arrived. Roman and Greek authors in the 5th century BC have stories about the Proselynes, and they lived in an area called Arcadia. And they said they've been here since before there was a moon in the heavens. Now, on the other side of the world, the ancient culture of Tiwanaku in Bolivia also refers to a time when there was no moon. The Tiwanaku claim the moon arrived between 11,500 and 13,000 years ago. If you're into ancient theories as much as I am, you'll recognize that this time coincides perfectly with a period called the Younger Dryas. And all kinds of myths and mysteries are said to have happened during the Younger Dryas, and we'll cover them on this channel.
Huh. Interesting.
You remember I was telling everybody that the moon was a spaceship and that sucker would take off and leave? That's why I sent you that, because I wanted them to hear that I didn't just pull it out of thin air. It's a basis for it.
Right.
The moon ain't natural.
Yeah. Right. Right. All right. Here go another one.
W. Bush's reign, the new currency was printed. It was supposed to be released earlier, and that was scrubbed, and the Treasury has printed money that states the United States Treasury. There is no Federal Reserve on it whatsoever. It hasn't been issued yet because Congress has not passed the law backing the money by gold. I believe it's H.R. 520A, which is was introduced in 2018 by Trump, the Trump administration, to put asset-backed assets, gold and silver, to back the new currency. Now, had they done that, you would be living in a different world today. That's why we don't see the currency yet. But this is why they're taking everything down. Now, when they take down the dollar, which is inevitable, there will be no choice but to go to the new currency. For example, what is the actual national debt of the United States of America? It's $265 trillion. Do you know what the fire sale of the entire United States is? Everything in it? $193 trillion. This is why nobody wants the dollar, because they know overseas, they know they're already moving to an asset-backed system. Switzerland's always been on one. Okay? England was on one for the longest period of time. They took it off when they joined the EU. They're no longer part of the EU. They're going back to the sterling silver standard. Okay? Russia is gold back. China's going gold back. Brazil's going gold back. India is going gold back. Vietnamese dong is going asset back using oil. Iraq is going to be asset back with gold and oil. So they're all in the process. The issue, sir, is that most people in this room have no idea what's going on because you have to look for it. The media in this country, that's why we don't know. But these things are going on all over the world. In fact, Germany just announced that they're going to be joining BRICS. That's the end of the
And that was the last video, right?
So that video, I think, was like a year and something old, and it was giving us the layout for what the delay was with the new currency, which is also tied to several other things Dr. Kia talk about.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So when we're looking for, what are the delays, you seeing what the delays is. So we remember over 60% of your Congress don't have an oath of office.
Mm-hmm.
So anybody that don't have an oath of office, you can go look up your local congressman and see if they got an oath of office on file. If they don't, they either central casting or they deep state.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's crazy.
Hey, y'all, hit that like, hit that subscribe button if you're new to the channel, man. Hey, y'all know we want to keep Roy off the plantation. So the little bit of donations that we send them, it help them out to keep them from having to go deal with them. We want them watching these guys 24/7. So if you can show them some love, we got 2,800 people on, man. Everybody send them $5. That'll put them in the game, all the way in the game. If you really a cool cat, send them 100. If you can't do that, send them $1, man. That dollar go a long way. If 1,600 people send them $1, that'll put them in the game. Hey, y'all. You want to take like 2 or 3 questions before we get out of here, Rod?
Let's do that.
Huh?
Let's do that.
All right. Hey, y'all, drop some questions in the chat. We'll take 2 or 3 questions before we get up out of here, y'all. Hit that like, hit that subscribe button. It's all unfolding. It's all unfolding right now before your eyes. Somebody said, what did he say? Central casting or what? What is, somebody asked, what is central casting?
Central casting is the company that provides crisis actors.
Mm-hmm.
They also provide actors for political satire.
Mm-hmm.
They use the term satire because that's theater, and so when they put somebody up for political satire, they're playing a role as a politician.
Mm-hmm. Over here it says, just seeing it. Right.
So tonight, a little while ago, when I looked up and saw the moon just appear, oh no, you wasn't tripping. The moon can turn the lights off on it where you can't see it. They could go into full stealth mode, and then they're gonna tell you it's an eclipse.
So how do we divide without
military? How do we take our land back?
It's happening in real time. They're gonna give it back. You don't even have to do nothing.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
The same way they use the cat's paw to take it, we can use the cat's paw to take it back. So the size of the moon, so the question is, so if the moon is a ship, how do they do moon magic? For the longest time, the women couldn't control the energy of the moon's effect on their body. Over time, because it affects them and because the size of the moon and the force that it puts upon the planet, it puts an energy connection from the earth to the moon. Once you learn the frequency is coming on, then you can harness the energy in order to perform your Heka magic, moon magic, lunar magic.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out that boy Jedi for the super chat, man. Says, where do we? All right, this is the last one right here, bro.
Where do we find, or how do we find our tribal courts? You can go on Google and type in tribal courts, and they got a whole bunch of tribal courts that's all over the land. They're not hard to find. They just that we don't utilize them But like right now, the smartest thing for us to do would be to unify our tribal courts to take the place of the current court system so they can arrest all of the judges. But we don't have that kind of unity yet where we would be effective enough in bringing them together. We don't have that unity. So we just got to wait till they take the old system down in order for us to wake up to activate our system correctly.
Hey, for the person that asked about the Cash App, I got it on the screen for you. So the Cash App is Skype 8 right here, right? And if you can't get it on the Cash App, somebody asked about, do you got Villa? I mean, what's that? Is it Villa? Vivo?
I have Cash App and PayPal. I just started with PayPal. So that was relatively new.
All right. Well, on that note, says the moon follows me everywhere and star planets. Why would that be? Who controls the moon? Does the moon follow me everywhere?
It ain't that the moon following you, it's just that your attention is locked onto the moon. The moon is not like actively following one individual. But the energy that you feel from it is reaching you wherever you in the proximity where you can see it. And it gives you the impression that the moon is following you. But it's not actually following you. It's that you locked on to the frequency of the moon as you move about to a high enough degree where you recognize that connection.
Hey, I'll take this last question there, Roy. It says, like, so when we go on the court, somebody going to court, and we know all these people fraud, continuing this
breaking up.
Continue to see people do this fraud, you know.
Look, they're gonna continue to do it until they shut down.
They keep on chopping us up. Maybe that's how IQ. They chopped us up pretty good. When we on their behind, you know what I'm saying? It's like, man, it's like they should have knew it was inevitable. Like Agent Smith said, it's inevitable. This shit, what's happening now was inevitable. How long they think they was gonna keep this charade, this false narrative going, man? How long they think they had about 200 years to roll this thing, man? That's it.
It's actually a 6,000-year conclusion. So what this is all tied to at the root, Enlil was given 2 sharks to collect as much gold as he could,
right,
in order to settle the conflict that he had with his brother Enki.
Right.
In the course of the 2 sharks, if he was to win Earth by conquest, by military conquest, and the only 2 ways you can win, surrender or total annihilation.
Right.
So they tried the total annihilation first, it didn't work. Because we baby kids, we don't die, we multiply.
Right.
So they tried to disassociate us from our birthright by telling us we from different places. Right?
Yeah.
And that way we would surrender our birthright. But because if only one of us needed to be aware of their birthright and their blood ties to the land and their heritable authority to reclaim it and put it in the public domain. And right at the close of the second Shar, this is how the devil got 6,000 years to rule. The same as we took the settlers, the war 1812, they gave them an extension. It's still aligned with the 2012 calendar of the cycle, where the second Shar would conclude, which was 2012. So now, in the aftermath, 13 years later, notice the number 13, we get the final cleanup in a 9 year. Right? So Big Mama's birthing the new age. 13, Queen Mother, sealed, the queen of the mother of the king, not the queen. And she blessed the king, and the king comes through and cleans up the BS.
Mm-hmm.
Put the new world in order.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right, bro. I think that's it. We're gonna go and get up out of here. Y'all hit that like, hit that subscribe button. We're gonna be back to keep you updated. Right? It was one more somebody had dropped that was kind of like a good question though. I don't see it no more. Yeah. Hey, y'all. We gonna be back. Hey, oh yeah, that's what it was. Hey, Young, shout out Young. Hey, Young, you Chata. Hey, if you wanna trace your ancestry or history, we got a playlist in the Native American Chief file called "Tracing Your Ancestry or History" Part 1 through 6. If you watch those tapes, it's got all the last names and facial recognitions and tribe and the tribal maps, right? That can probably help you get like get a start going. Because we connected a lot of dots in those tracing your ancestry or history tapes. But based on what I already researched, Young ties in with the Chata, especially if you're from Louisiana, Mississippi. If you're Young down from Louisiana, Mississippi area. If you're Young from Alabama, you could be the Creeks. And then you got some Youngs that's up north. They depends on what part you at, what part you from. Because some of the Youngs came from Mississippi. They were Chata. They moved because a lot of people migrated from Mississippi to Chicago, right? And then mixed in with the Shinnecock people that was already up there. So yeah, we're gonna leave you on that. Hey, Rod, we'll be back with another one. Hey, y'all, like I say, if you want to show Rod some love, we left the Cash App on the screen. Everybody send him $1, man. That'll put him in the game till the next time we get back on. What else I want to say? You got any more announcements before we get out of here, Rod?
No, we covered a lot of ground, a lot of territory today.
Yeah, it's 2 hours. We 2.5 hours in. All right, y'all. Peace and love. Free all the political prisoners. Free the master teacher, Dr. Malachi Z. York. Free. We still working on Larry to get out. Trump already made the play. Still waiting on Illinois, right? Free H. Rap Brown. Free Jeff Fort. Chief Angel Malik Bay, right? The L. Rookin. Big Mama's baby's about to get ready to come home. All the chiefs about to get ready to walk. If you see what's going on now, you can feel that all the chiefs, because COINTELPRO operations was illegal. The stuff that they did to us was they in there on illegal content, illegal pretense. All of brothers are in there on illegal pretense. So if you watching what's going down now, you can see that hey, it's almost time for the chiefs to walk, right? Based on where we going now. So peace and love, y'all. Love throughout the land. One love, one heart. We out. Wadu. Never have it been made so clear.